rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. Oh, my goodness. All right, we are on the count. A little over 24 hours. I think my unofficial producer out there said 28 hours, or somebody did, 28 more hours left in 2025. Wow. Time has gone by really, really quickly. Really quickly. Well, I mean, at least when you're busy, it goes by quick. I do know that much. Hey, news for tomorrow. I think I've got Mrs. Whiskey convinced to answer the phones for me tomorrow. I think I've got her convinced to help me out and answer the phones. We'll see if she comes in here in just a second, see if she heard me through the door. But anyway, I think I've got her convinced to give that a shot. So you guys, if anybody wants to call in tomorrow, yeah, you'll be able to talk to the missus. I won't do the automatic. I'm going to try and turn the automatic thing off and have a call screener, which will be Mrs. Whiskey. So there you go. So you guys, yeah, you'll be able to talk. I know Bonnie's like, we can talk to Mrs. Whiskey. Yes, of course you can. You guys can, of course. You guys do know that she is part of the, she's part of the Whiskey Warrior P1 group, right? You know that, right? She's in there on Facebook. So you can talk to her or you can chat with her anytime. Anyway, yeah, I think I've got her convinced. And I told her too, by the way, I said, you know, if you do that, I go, everybody's going to be calling in wanting to talk to you and not me. So the show won't go, quite the way that everybody wants it to. No, I'm just kidding. I know you guys would love to talk to her. And, so yeah, so you'll be able to give her a call and, you'll be able to talk to her. I don't know if she'll actually let anybody like go through. Because remember, she'll be the call screener. She'll be the first one to pick up, and then she'll pass the call on to me. So, well, that's assuming that you guys allow her to do that. But yeah, anyway, this ought to be fun. Oh, it's going to be New Year's Eve, and things are going to be things are going to be all messed up. So, oh boy. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing for the show tomorrow night. So, I mean, outside of having the phone number available, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure how long I'm going to run the show either. We'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and get some things kicked off. First things first, tonight, we'll just go ahead and call him the man of the year. The man of the year, Fat Paws, is up for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. So please show your respect. If you are of mind, please stand. Remove your hat if you're wearing one. And follow along with Fat Paws. May he rest in peace as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, may he rest in peace. And may his family find peace as well. That was Fat Paws. Wonderful, great man. And you know, in a bit of a twist, when I went to go get dressed for the show, I grabbed the one shirt that Fat Paws had from theflagshirt.com as well, the Declaration of Independence shirt. and he's worn it. I've gotten pictures of him wearing this shirt. So it seems like the stars aligned perfectly for everything, for all of this. So, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on to tonight's headline sponsor, which is, of course, the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government, as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate yourself and your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content, to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. 3 Chevy says the amendments to this book have a numerical order guarantee. That is correct. Let's take a look at this thing. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. This is stitched. Check out that stitching. Stitched all the way through the leather and the pages to wrap it all up nice and neat. Got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if something does go wrong, you send this back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. I cannot forget that this has sexy rounded corners that don't poke you in the rear end when you stick it in your pocket, or in your chest if you stick it in your chest pocket. Anyway, my youngest whiskey warrior, wait a minute, back it up. This is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to study for and achieve your civics badge in Scouts. Not to mention, it'll probably help you with that civics exam and possibly even that naturalization test. It is a fantastic gift. I know, Christmas is over. It's sad. But you can purchase them for another time. You hand them out anyway. Hand them out just because. I mean, you should probably do it anyway to your American-loving friends. They will appreciate the gift. I even lost where the heck I was with the whole thing. But anyway, oh, by the way, this is Fat Paws approved. Fat Paws approved as well, who you just heard the Pledge of Allegiance. See, you got me all flustered. Thanks, Amy. Anyway, yeah, so do me a favor. If you want one of those, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. And while you are there, go and check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution and all of their offerings. And I appreciate them, and I am happy that they allow me to be a brand affiliate. Amy started it. Oh my gosh. Yes, Amy started it. No, Amy, I am not. I am not. I don't walk around naked. I do have a daughter who still lives with me, so no, I don't walk around naked, whether I want to or not. Anyway, all right. Oh God, I love my Whiskey Warrior P1s. They are my kind of people. Let's just put it that way. All right. Well, not too long ago. Yeah, I know. Nana's like, oh, see, I told you got him off the rails. Yeah, no, you did. You completely. Holy crap, that's not just a 1, that's a 2. I get a 2 honker on that one because, man, every single time I look back up at the chat, I saw that question about being naked, and it just threw me completely for a loop. No, I am not a professional here, folks. I cannot continue at sometimes when things get out of hand. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, Bonnie, please don't do that to me. No, my son's the one that's getting married soon, not the daughter. Anyway. The show's already loose. My chat is already nuts. Yes, it's all nuts. It's crazy. Anyway. Oh, great. Now they're all calling me a professional stripper. No, I am definitely not that, and I never have been. And don't try to look for Stallion Johnson. Sorry. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of name changes, I changed the name of the show not too long ago. I changed it from Whiskey Musings over to American Perspective. And let me just tell you, overall, I'm just going to have to say, overall, that name change actually was positive. It was positive for this. Well, this year, MSNBC decided to change its name. They changed their name to MS Now, which I have no idea why anybody would want to watch either MSNBC or MS Now. Well, it turns out that, the rebranding wasn't exactly the bump that they needed. Well, I mean, when you have a quality product and you make the change, you make a name change, that actually, usually doesn't affect the product that much. And especially if you make a name change that makes more sense to go along with the product that you're producing or making or whatever, usually it will give you a little bit of a bump. Maybe you would have better exposure. In my case, I was at the bottom end of the alphabet with the W in the beginning of the name. And also, the Whiskey Musings didn't necessarily reflect the things that I talk about. And so, therefore, the name change for me was positive because I moved from the back of the alphabet toward the front of the alphabet, and it reflected a lot more of the topics and things that were there. And so more people came and listened and wanted to hang out, and I received more downloads on the audio portion of the program and things like that. So overall, it was a good experience for me to make that change. But now, MSNBC, their ratings, according to Nielsen Media Research, which was released on Monday, December 15th, apparently they have discovered that MS Now didn't really do anything for them, and in fact, made things worse. So Fox News averaged, according to the Nielsen Media Research, Fox News averaged 2.72 million primetime viewers and 287,000 viewers in the key adult 25 to 54 demographic in 2025. That itself was up 14% in total viewers and 18% in the coveted 25 to 54 demographic in comparison to 2024. So they actually increased their viewership. In comparison, MSNBC, now rebranded to MS Now, averaged only 923,000 total viewers, which they dropped 25% in 2024, and only 81,000 in the coveted 25 to 54-year-old demographic, which means that they actually dropped 39% in that key demographic over the year. And yeah, CNN has gotten even worse than that. I mean, it's even worse than MS Now. CNN averaged 580,000 total viewers, which is a loss of 15% compared to the year before, and 105,000 viewers in the demographic that coveted 25 to 54. And yeah, these guys, the only thing that you could say about MS Now is the fact that they're actually beating CNN, which isn't really that big of a push, let's be honest. But it did manage to do worse than CNN in a demographic where, in a country, considering the fact, now keep in mind, okay, this is, a lot of people look at this and they think, okay, you know, who cares? Who cares about all the ratings? Who cares about the demographics? Well, here's the thing. MS Now losing 39% of their viewers in a key demographic, the 25 to 54 bracket. Think of what political party that demographic encompasses. No, it is not the Republican Party. No, it is not the Conservative Party. No, it is not the Constitution Party. It is none other than the Democrat Party. And especially the leftist lunatics that are out there who make up a vast majority of younger viewers. Now, by younger, of course, you mean under, yes, let's say the age of 40. But that being said, the transition to more conservative values and conservative principles and things of that nature generally occurs in, say, the 40 to 65 to 70 bracket. And so, yeah, this is not good for a demographic and for a news, broadcasting organization. I won't call it news because they're not news. They're propaganda mostly, but a broadcasting organization that is trying to cater toward the younger viewers. That's not good. That is not a good business model to lose close to 40% of your viewership, especially when it's in the demographic that is really key to keeping you around. So to be completely honest, you know, MS Now lost 25% of its overall viewers in just 1 year as well. Don't forget that. And at this rate, who knows how long MS Now is actually still going to be around. In fact, as comparison, Comcast jettisoned the NBC properties that it used to want so bad. See, Comcast used to want NBC. And Comcast said, yeah, we're not going to do it anymore. They jettisoned them and they spun them into a group called Versant. In fact, they made Al Sharpton a broadcaster they wanted him to be. So they wanted him to be like, again, they wanted them all to make it. Yeah, not happening. Anyway, now keep in mind the company called Versant may make a name change to something that isn't quite as, questionable in terms of what it is, but I'm telling you, broadcast talk shows, especially leftist ones, have took a literal beating for this. A literal beating over the course of the last 4 years. And mainly it has to deal with the fact that they all sat there and propped up Joe Biden and kept saying, oh, Joe's fine. Not to mention the Hunter Biden laptop story that was discredited by them, found to be true. all of the things that they pretty much have been talking about and pushing on for the last 5 years, 6 years, and their whole Trump hate and everything else. And yeah, that's all going away. It's all going away. But anyway, so there you go. Netflix, by the way, doesn't want CNN either. Neither do the rest of the cable rivals. They don't want CNN at all. So, yeah, we're just going to have to kind of watch and see. CNN is probably going to be gone soon. Oh, well. Anyway. And yes, Nick Shirley is going to be just increasingly, he's just growing and growing. Last night, Nana sent me a message, and she was like, when you said that he had over 100 million viewers, yeah, he did. He had over 100 million viewers, or 100 million views on that particular thing. So, yeah. Anyway, speaking of that, let's get into some of this. So, one of the main videos that Nick was involved in had to be outside of the quality leering, not learning, the quality leering centers. And remember how they went up to it and they kind of shook the door and they knocked on the door and they were trying to get people to come to the door, and nobody came to the door and that kind of stuff. And then you had that eyewitness who basically said, "Hey, I've never seen any kids here." Well, guess what? Somehow, some way, all of a sudden, the Quality Leering Center, all of a sudden, has a bunch of kids going in there. Wait, what? Yeah. So now that this video has gone viral and causing them all kinds of space, all of them all of a sudden became like, well, there's a bunch of kids. So there was a resident nearby who basically was like, "Yeah, we never seen any kids go in there today. That parking lot is empty all the time, and I was under the impression that the place was permanently closed." Well, guess what? Now it's back open, apparently. So, yeah. And they got some pictures like this one. This is in the New York Post. They got this photo that apparently now all of a sudden there's kids there. Huh. And there they are. You can see them. This is on December 29th. This was yesterday. Photo taken yesterday. So, Monday. Yeah. There was roughly 20 kids streaming in and out. Now, this was because the New York Post was staking out and took these photos. So, there you go. And it was a stark contrast. These kids going in and out were a stark contrast to the YouTuber's video and also the neighbor's description, who said that the building seemed like it was not in use. There they are, kids going in. And by the way, there was also a story about this particular site that said, "Oh, no, that place is shut down," according to the government. Really? Sure doesn't look like it to this. So, yeah. Anyway, so the guy there's a guy, his name is Ibrahim Ali, said that, he's the son of the owner. This person claimed to be the son of the owner. And he also said that he was the manager. And he claimed to the Post on Monday when they were asking about it that, during Shirley's visit, They said, oh, yeah, well, that's because Shirley showed up before they opened for the day. Well, the facility says its hours are Monday to Thursday from 2 to 10 p.m. 2 to 10 p.m. And Ali apparently said to the Post, do you go to a coffee shop at 11 p.m. and say, hey, they're not working? He said he also blamed the graphic designer for the now infamous typo in the site's sign. He says, what I understand is the owners dealt with the graphic designer. He did it incorrectly. I guess they didn't think it was a big issue. Yeah, that would have been a big issue. Anyway. He also said of the sign, he's like, well, that's going to be fixed. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And by the way, this manager claims that he helps out with homework and paperwork at the facility. Yeah. So there you go. And it's not immediately clear how long the misspelled exterior sign has actually been in place. Ali said that there were about 16 kids inside the center Monday afternoon. Keep in mind, the center is registered that they supposedly have up to 99 kids registered to be there. Yeah, and only 16 showed up? Yeah. Anyway. They are trying to scramble to get this put together. Yeah. Anyway. By the way, Quality Learning has not been publicly named as of yet as one of the businesses suspected by the feds in their probe. A woman opening the center at 2 p.m. on Monday said that Shirley's reporting was actually inaccurate. She said, we don't have fraud. That is a lie. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to my lawyer. So, yeah. Anyway. So, we'll just have to kind of see how much this goes on. So, there you go. Anyway. Continuing on, a key Minnesota commissioner responds to the alleged fraud. So the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Families, the commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Families, responded to the viral video. He basically, and by the way, the commissioner's name is Tiki Brown. So the commissioner, Tiki Brown, said Monday that there has been ongoing investigations with several of those centers and that none of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud. According to a local news outlet and NBC affiliate CARE, K-A-R-E 11, which is the name. Yeah. So, Brown said, according to CARE 11, quote, while we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously. There have been ongoing investigations with several of those centers. None of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud. Brown continued and told the outlet that inspectors visited the daycare centers. Daycare centers showed in Shirley's video Monday to ensure that children were actually present and that the Department of Homeland Security was also checking the Minneapolis businesses. The Department of Children, Youth, and Families currently has 55 active investigations related to the Child Care Assistance Program, according to, again, the local news outlet CARE 11. So, yeah. All of this stuff is kind of interesting here. Well, Here's an interesting factoid that got discovered or uncovered or revealed by the Daily Caller. And this is something that's a big question, I think, for a lot of people because, I mean, let's face it. How often are you or anyone asked about bulk drops of, well, let's just call them what they are, immigrants or foreign invasion, foreign refugees? How often are the communities even asked if it's okay? I mean, think about like the Haitian refugees that got dumped in Ohio, I believe it was, or some of the other places. I mean, you know, Somalis up in Minnesota. There's the people in Dearborn, Michigan that just got just a huge influx of personnel of people. Because the government just decides, hey, we're just going to pluck a city or someplace out of a hat, and we're going to send a whole bunch of refugees there. So, yeah. Anyway, more on that here in just a second. Let's talk about Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium. You've probably noticed that Rumble itself is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there is a category or a service known as Rumble Premium. It's an easy way to upgrade your experience with Rumble. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. That means no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content, like this show, that you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. All you need to do is go to rumble.com/premium. That's rumble.com/premium. And by the way, that / is the question mark key on your keyboard. Rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, at checkout to get that $10 off that annual subscription. Rumble.com/premium using promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, to get that $10 off the annual subscription. And no more ads. You'll have no more ads. More freedom and content that you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO at checkout and get $10 off that annual subscription. Rumble.com/premium. Promo code STUDIO for $10 off that annual subscription. All right. So apparently they just decided, okay, we're just going to dump people into the, part of Minnesota here. And, apparently, there were a bunch of Minnesotans who actually begged the Republicans, to a particular Republican representative in particular, to stop the Somalis from coming into their neighborhood over a decade ago. Over a decade ago. So who is this guy? Well, it was House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. More than 10 years ago was asked, Minnesotans begged him to halt the flood of Somali refugees into the area. Well, remember, folks, they're a politician. They don't necessarily care about you until it's voting time. Anyway, Minnesota's, got off track. The Majority Whip Tom Emmer did scold them for their concerns. So apparently he appeared on a show or some sort of a town hall called This American Life. And in an episode, this episode aired in October of 2016. And there's a journalist by the name of Zoe Chace, Chace, who narrated portions of the story, including a reflection on a July 2015 town hall event that occurred at the Aces Bar in downtown St. Cloud, Minnesota. Despite the room, describing the room as being packed, Chace, Chace, said that one of the constituents told Emmer that he believed most people in the bar are here to find out how you feel about assimilation of immigrants, before playing a clip from the event. Now, the man could be heard in the clip stating, "We did not ask for those Somalis. Nobody asked us if we in St. Cloud want those Somalis. And we understand that social groups like the Lutheran Social Service and the Catholic Charities, they're dumping them in areas like St. Cloud." The man continued and says, "Okay, so the question is, how many more are coming? We didn't ask for these people. Everybody that you read about is talking about this. So that is a main issue in this city. There's no control. The people have no control over any immigration. The mayor doesn't. I don't know." Now, data from the 2024 Census Bureau's American Community Survey shows that roughly 107,000 people live in Minnesota. That's the Somalis, with 58% of those being born in the U.S. and 87% of them foreign-born Somalis in the state being naturalized U.S. citizens, according to the news outlet KTTC. Minneapolis has the state's largest Somali population, with about 84,000 residents of Somali descent, followed by Hennepin County with roughly 50,000, the outlet KTTC reported. Okay? Now, in December, in December, when the estimated total of $9 billion or more fraud was reported across 14 Medicaid services in Minnesota, according to CBS News, over 90% of those charged in the massive fraud case were of Somali descent. Now, back to that recorded town hall. So Emmer pushed back on the man, and Chace describing the lawmaker as firing a warning shot at the implicit racism directed at Somalis. Emmer argues, E-M-M-E-R, Emmer argues that Somalis are one of the fastest assimilating populations, prompting audible groans of disapproval. One man could be heard in the recording saying, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me." At the time of the event, the narrator, Chace, noticed that a Somali man was in the room with other constituents. He eventually tried to speak for himself, telling the group in thickly accented English that he felt assimilated. Chace could be heard explaining his audio in the segment, stating the Somali man asked residents to meet him to address their fears. The audience continued pressing Emmer to demand a vote on the refugees. One constituent, identified as Sue, pushed back as Emmer repeatedly asked what she wanted him to do, telling the lawmaker that there had been huge economic burden placed on them at the time because of the influx. She's got a point. Sue has a point here. She says, "I think I speak for a lot of people. I think the city of St. Cloud needs a breather, and we need to assimilate with the people that are," and Emmer cuts her off. "What does that mean? What does that mean?" Emmer asks. And they kind of go back and forth, and Emmer asks Sue point blank if she's suggesting that no more immigrants should be allowed to come to St. Cloud, to which states it would be a memoriam for a short time. That's basically what Sue says. Additional people in the background could be heard shouting that the pause should be for the whole United States before Emmer jumped back in to state the request was simply not possible. He said, "All right, here's the thing. All I can do is respond as open and as honest as I can, Sue. That's not something that I can do. That's not something our Constitution says that we do with the people who are," Emmer could be heard telling her before Chase cuts to an audio clip of him directly talking to her. Now, Emmer did respond to the Daily Caller News Foundation's request for comment after this publication, calling out the failed immigration policies over the years and how he was proud to stand with the Trump administration to hold criminals accountable. Emmer said, "Over the last decade, failed immigration policies have allowed millions of illegal aliens into our country, including many violent criminals and many who cheated the system to get here illegally." Emmer said, "Americans will no longer be taken advantage of by illegals gaming taxpayer-funded programs. I'm proud to partner with President Trump and FBI Director Patel to hold these criminals accountable." Folks, you need to understand. Immigration is on purpose supposed to be a controlled process. We aren't just allowing just anybody in here. We need to allow the correct type, and by type, I mean somebody who is trying to become a citizen, who can provide something to our country, who can come here and provide a product, service, whatever, skill, knowledge that we may not have or have a shortage of. See, these people don't seem to understand. Just allowing anybody in, and this is what Biden did, was basically just allowing anybody in without vetting. That's not immigration. That's just open borders. And by the way, it is not bigoted, nor is it racist, to ask the same question. Hey, what is this person going to be able to do for our society before allowing them to come in here? See, that's what we should do. That's what we should do. Now, Emmer, of course, being the politician that he is, he posted on Saturday, "What Walz refused to address for 7 years, Nick Shirley uncovered in one day. The fraud in Minnesota is so brazen and so vast, it's impossible. Walz's administration did not know about it." Yeah. Folks, we need to understand. Just letting anybody in without proper vetting or proper understanding in terms of what that individual is going to do here, that is not immigration. That's not what the immigration policy, even in our own past, was all about. See, if you look back in history, there were times where we had a shortage of people doing certain jobs or whatever, and they were bringing people over here in order to fill those jobs. Or we had a particular skill set, and they would bring people in here that had that skill set. That's what immigration is supposed to be. You come here with the idea that you're going to shed your old country and turn into an American. But that's not what these people are doing. That's not what a lot of these people are doing. They're just coming here just to be able to get free assistance, free food, free whatever, be a part of the American culture is not something that they want to do. They don't want to assimilate. That's why they're sitting here running around with Mexican flags when they should be waving American flags. Or they're running around waving Palestinian flags when they should be waving American flags. This is crazy. And we do need to actually step back and say, hey, there's something wrong here. So, yeah. By the way, apparently before that town hall event, days before, Emmer apparently joined the Democratic Minnesota Representative Keith Ellison in creating what is called the Congressional Somali Caucus. The two had released a joint statement in 2015 touting that for them and the constituents we represent, Somalia is not a far-off foreign policy issue. It's a matter of domestic policy and national security. We are committed to advocating on behalf of all of our constituents while ensuring that Somalia has the tools it needs to create strong democratic institutions that provide safety and economic opportunity for its people. So, yeah. Anyway. Folks, we need to understand immigration is not designed to just bring in anybody, anytime, anywhere. We need to be bringing what is essentially the best and the brightest. Now, according to Pam Bondi, she confirmed that 85 Somalis have been charged. 60 of them have been convicted in this fraud scandal so far. So she announced this. Let's see, when did she announce this? This was on an X post. Praising, during this post, she praised citizen journalist Nick Shirley for revealing the magnitude of the fraud in Minnesota. And that's when she dropped out the idea that we have charged 98 individuals, 85 of Somali descent, and more than 60 have been found guilty in court. Well, you know, we've talked a lot about the Minnesota fraud, and I brought up a couple of other states, Maine and Massachusetts, or Maryland, sorry, along with a few others. Well, now we have other other questionable things that have been running on under the Biden administration in particular. Apparently, HUD released a report, that's the Housing and Urban Development. HUD released a report in which $5 billion in questionable rental assistance under Biden happened, including thousands of dollars, get this, to deceased tenants and non-citizens. Yeah. They found that there was around 30,000 deceased tenants and thousands of potential non-citizens. This is also in the Washington Post. HUD officials said a large concentration of the suspicious payments went to New York, California, and Washington, D.C. Yeah. Dead recipients apparently gained at least some of the funds in all 50 states in what federal officials are calling widespread abuse of taxpayer dollars under the Biden administration. Yeah, like, you think that they actually really cared at this point? Anyway, HUD Secretary Scott Turner said in a statement, a massive abuse of taxpayer dollars not only occurred under President Joe Biden's watch, but was also effectively incentivized by his administration's failure to implement strong financial controls, resulting in billions worth of potential improper payments. He said HUD will continue investigating the shocking results and will take appropriate action to hold bad actors accountable. Additionally, the department is advancing efforts made under President Trump's first administration to strengthen program integrity and ensure taxpayer-funded assistance serves the vulnerable communities it was intended for. Okay, constitutional question here for you. Where in Article 1, Section 8, does it say that the federal government needs to provide housing assistance funds for the American people? Again, where does it show up? Believe me, I've read through that list of 18 enumerated items many times, and I don't seem to recall seeing anything in there that says that, hey, we're going to have the federal government tax people and pay them for housing assistance. I'm throwing out a dare. I mean, if I had money, I'd lay money on it, but I'm throwing out a dare. I want any leftist, actually, I don't even care if you're a leftist, if you're a conservative, I want anybody in 2026, okay? Anybody in 2026 to come to me and explain to me how all of these social programs are a part of the constitutionally mandated responsibilities of the federal government as outlined in Article 1, Section 8. That's my challenge. That's my challenge. And you know what? You didn't even get a reward. But I'll tell you what, I will come on the program if you can prove it to me without a shadow of a doubt, constitutionally. And don't tell me that because SCOTUS hasn't, has agreed with some little piece of it here or there. Don't tell me, because not a single lawsuit has been brought under the 10th Amendment, to the best of my knowledge. But I want somebody to sit here and explain it to me very clearly as to where these things like HUD, where these things like Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare and Obamacare and all these other and food stamps and all this stuff, where in Article 1, Section 8 does this come from? Explain to me. Give it to me, because I'd like to know. And especially you'll get extra points if you're a leftist who can do that. Anyway. So just to continue on here really quick, HUD's Office of the Chief Financial Officer uncovered the $5.8 billion of questionable payments out of nearly $50 billion in total federal rental assistance to public housing authorities, contractors, landlords, and other non-federal entities in fiscal year 2024. The 183-page report disclosed. Again, where in the Constitution, where does this belong? What place? Where within the Constitution? You know what? I don't even if you expand it beyond Article 1, Section 8, I still want to know where constitutionally this resides as a responsibility of the federal government and the federal taxes. Seriously. Just asking. Well, it's not just that. Now we find that there were hundreds of public workers in Illinois that were caught in some sort of a pandemic fraud scheme. Here we go again, another fraud. Anyway, nearly 400 Illinois state employees allegedly attained federal PPP loans through fraudulent means. Now, again, not that I'm not going to be heartless about this, but I say this about the student loan cases and things like that. Folks, none of this is a responsibility of the federal government. Where the hell did all of this come from? And by the way, somebody sitting here saying, well, Congress can just pretty much make whatever the law they want. No, they can't. And to me, anybody who took out a PPP loan, which is the Paycheck Protection Program that was put in during COVID, anyone who took out a PPP loan should pay it back. That's what you do. You pay back your loans. If you didn't use the money, give it back. Seriously. But anyway, the Illinois Office of the Executive Inspector General reported a reasonable cause in 378 PPP fraud cases involving state workers through June of 2025. Now, the loans were designed to assist small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic, but apparently they even went to federal or state employees. What the hell? The alleged fraud cases involving state workers accounted for approximately 3/4 of those reviewed by the Illinois Office of the Executive Inspector General. In response to the findings, over 200 state government employees have either been fined or forced to resign, with a number being referred for criminal prosecution. According to the report, state workers at major agencies, including Human Services, Corrections, Children and Family Services, collectively received more than $2.8 million in fraudulent loans, often by submitting fabricated business or income claims. Notably, the Illinois Attorney General's office has secured guilty pleas in multiple cases, typically resulting in probation, restitution, or community service. As an example, one fraud scheme exposed was one in which a human services employee fraudulently obtained $49,000 for a non-existent catering business. In another case, an Illinois state worker claimed she misunderstood the loan as debt consolidation. And another admitted to paying someone to create a fake business application for her. Yeah. By the way, Cook County, Illinois watchdogs have found PPP fraud cases extending beyond state government workers to county officials as well. Yeah. Anyway, it's an estimated 65 PPP-related cases have resulted in resignations and firings. Meanwhile, the Cook County Sheriff's Office reported that it has reviewed 163 cases, which 62 violations confirmed to have been committed by employees. The City Inspector General for Chicago has uncovered upwards of 1,000 potentially fraudulent loans granted to city staff, with 9 cases initiated so far. So the fraud isn't just in the Somali community, it is everywhere. And it's all, looks like all leftist stuff. Well, speaking of leftists, California may get smaller. Their coffer may get smaller. Because apparently California is suggesting that they have a proposal running around where there would be a one-time 5% tax on assets. Meaning assets, non-money things. And there would be a 5% tax on all of those. Well, it's all to try and collect, of course, the shortfall of money, because California can't frickin' do its job correctly and balance the budget. Well, those same billionaires who are potentially going to get taxed for this are now saying, yeah, we're probably going to leave the state. Gee, I wonder, where did that come from? Where did the idea, most people were on the left were saying, oh, no, the billionaires, they won't leave. They won't leave. They'll just take the 5% or whatever tax. They'll take that tax. Yeah, sure. Yeah, some of the wealthiest residents in California are threatening to leave the state over this proposed tax because the assets are state of those people in the state are worth more than $1 billion. Among those considering the move, tech venture capitalist Peter Thiel, or Thiel, I guess is how it's pronounced, Google co-founder Larry Page, who's a longtime resident of Palo Alto, California, has reportedly discussed leaving the Golden State by the end of the year. 2 people briefed on the talks told the New York Times. 3 limited liability companies associated with Page fled earlier in December to incorporate in Florida. Palmer Luckey, Luckey, co-founder of the defense tech startup Anduril, has stated that such a tax on billionaires would force founders like me to sell huge chunks of our companies to pay for fraud, waste, and political favors for the organizers pushing this ballot initiative. Yeah. Well, now you see, folks. Oh, and I see all these things. Tax the rich, tax the rich. It's all talking about tax the rich. Dude, we won't have any rich. They don't, this is part of the problem. And actually, Coco D, insert name here, says it clearly. It's like people like these billionaires don't seem to realize that it was their votes that actually created this crap. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, folks, this is crazy. This is just crazy. And they're pushing to keep this going. They're pushing to keep this going. And I'm telling you, it is going to hurt those states that do this stuff long before it helps them. So, anyway. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't headed on over to rumble.com yet and gotten yourself an account, you really should, because it's free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel to get that and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or, of course, if you're 3 Chevy, thumbs sideways, across all my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. Last day of 2025 is tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Running until whenever. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.